What's going on, everyone? Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homeboat Workshop. How we all doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get everything situated here. You guys, a lot of you beat me today. That's awesome. Of course, I guess I am, well, a couple minutes late, but let's see. Let's get this chat so I can see it. How's everybody doing? Hopefully your week is going well. So far, so good around here. Actually, it's been a pretty good week so far. All right, there we go. There we go. Except, why is it scrolled all the way down? That's weird. That is weird. Why? Why can't I scroll the chat? Huh, that's interesting. I can't scroll the chat back up for some reason. I saw Paul was here, and Paul said happy birthday. Yes, Paul let the cat out of the bag. Today is my birthday. So, there you have it. Thank you, Paul. Sam said happy birthday. And sorry if I'm missing a chat. It's up above there. I don't know why it's not scrolling back up. I can't, but... Paul says, just remember, since lighting that many candles to blow them out could potentially burn down the shop. Just blow it over the coffee instead. Right on. Yes, yeah, that would be a lot of candles. Oh, it's funny. That's funny. Robert's here. Robert says, hello, people. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy. Stay hydrated in the heat. Yes, the heat is... I'm going to make this thing follow me. It's been toasty again, but not as toasty. We haven't been in the hundreds. So, but still pretty warm. Sen Packins here says, good morning, Jeff and the crew. Hope everyone's doing great and happy birthday, young fella. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Yep, it is a good day indeed. I'm noticing a little bit of lag on my end here, so hopefully, I hope that's not coming through really bad on your end. Paul says it's going to take Jeff a little bit longer to log in as he's aging as we watch him. Oh, boy. Cheers. That's some good stuff today. Let's see. Robert says, I guess since others are wishing you happy birthday, I will echo them. Jeff, thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Sam says, brushing his hair. Yeah, I had to get ready, you know? Had to get ready. Tony's here. Tony says, morning, sunshine. Good morning, Tony. How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Sam says, I need a robotic arm with a tool attachment. That would be awesome. A robot arm up here that would just like do stuff. And I'll tell you, the last few days, I feel like I could use one of those. Maybe we had like a smaller one that could like just do this sort of thing, pick and place stuff. Because I've been busy doing a ton of repetitive things. And I'll show you what I've been working on here as soon as we get caught up. But yeah, that would be cool. I don't need that notification. That's loud. So what's everybody been up to? What have we been doing? Let's see. This is a video this past weekend. What was that? I forgot how did I forget what that was? Off the top of my head. Oh yeah, the draw knife sheath. Yep. Simple little leather project. That video's, it's not doing the greatest, but that's fine. Because sometimes the ones that don't start out doing very well end up picking up momentum later on. But yeah, that was a fun little project, and definitely something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. So kind of happy to have that done. Part of that project came about partly because I was doing some cleaning and reorganization with hand plane stuff. So since I've added some hand planes to the shop over the last couple of months or whatever, I got to do something different up here. But that also involved me needing to clean out a drawer in my toolbox, and that's when I decided that I needed to get something on that draw knife. So it's all sort of in preparation for doing something up here, which I'm not sure yet what we're going to do, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, that was a fun one. And the last several days, I have been cutting up black walnut. You remember the plaque project from last year? That was just wild and crazy. Well, since I've got I've got more time this year, I'm getting a jump on things. And I've got, let's see, it'll probably follow me, I think. I've got this is number 19, plaque blank number 19 in the clamps right here. And 18 is over there, you can't see it. And then I've got 17 more of them down below the table. I'm getting all the blanks put together, at least for now. I've got the initial count for some of these things. Well, at the moment, I've got 24 of them to do. 22 or 24. But I'm going to get all of those glued up. And then I think the end of the month I get an updated count. So whatever more, maybe I'll glue up, I don't know, maybe 25 of the small ones and 5 or 6 of the big ones. Then I'll have everything done ahead of time. And then it'll be a lot easier to glue some of these up if I need to. But just getting the jump on things, I decided, you know what? I needed to make a walnut plaque for Gina's work. One of her coworkers was leaving, so I made a plaque. I'm like, I've got to buy the wood for that. And I might as well buy the wood for this, and I can get started on it. I don't think I have all of the materials. Probably going to have to go back and buy some more, but I bought roughly what I think I needed, plus a few more for the orders that we have already. So just getting a jump on things, trying to get everything done ahead of time. A few more pieces here on the table that are cut. I need to do a little bit more cutting, and yeah, plaque season is almost here. I'm just taking a couple days getting everything glued up before jumping into the next project. I'm not gonna actually start laser engraving or anything quite yet, but like I said, since I already had to buy material for a different plaque project, I said I might as well get it for this, and then get everything broke down, sliced up. The 3D printer is still running. I did a lot of the printing a month or two ago, but since I got an updated count, I'm running a few more of those. I think tomorrow, I just started one of the big giant ones, and those prints take a long time, so that one will finish tomorrow morning. And then yeah, we're going to be in a really good spot, especially once I have all these glued up. I think that probably, I don't know if I'll get them all glued today, because I do have to cut up some more pieces, and that takes a little bit of time. But I think by tomorrow I'll have everything glued up, and then at least they'll be in the blank form. They won't be cut to shape or anything, but I'll have the blanks glued up, and that's going to be a really awesome place to be as we get a little bit closer to the deadline, which isn't until October. But I don't know how many more are going to be added. The counts I have are only up until June, and we still have the month of July for people to be getting, earning these plaques. And then, so we'll see. But I'm feeling really good. It's kind of weird just taking a couple of days, though, and not really filming anything. I'm literally just been doing this. But I got the next project planned. At least mostly, and that's what I'll be starting on once this is all wrapped up. Let's catch up on comments here, and then we'll jump into a little bit more. Let's see. Robert says, yeah, the heat is supposed to really start building in around here this week. Oh man. And look who's here. Harry Dude is here. Says, happy day of oldering. Harry Dude, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, it is the day of oldering. I like that. Sempak and Rick says, it's your age. Get used to forgetting. Oh, I'm used to it. I am used to it already. Donna's here. Donna says, hey, good morning. Coffee up. The Beatles. Coffee up, Donna. Good morning. Peeps. Oh, gotcha. That's funny. Robert says, hey, looks like you've gained another few subscribers. Just keep climbing. Just keep climbing with the subscriptions. We're trying, Robert. Trying to do what we can. Things keep going. Yeah. As long as you guys keep watching and thumbs upping and sharing and commenting and all that stuff, yeah, we just keep moving forward slowly but surely. We're like the little engine that could. Is that it? Sam says you could get auto follow golf club caddy and convert it to be an auto follow toolbox. That would be kind of cool, actually. Do they really have an auto follow golf club caddy thing where you just walk around the golf course and it just drives behind you? Because that would be really cool. I don't know if he's in here, Jim, or if my buddy Jim's in here. He could probably use one of those auto follow toolboxes in the shop. That'd be pretty cool. You got to walk over to the car and your toolbox just follows you. That would be really neat. What a fun project that would be. I don't have much room, Sam. It wouldn't be able to follow me very far in here. But I could see that in some sort of a workshop, auto shop or something like that, where the floor is nice and flat and smooth and the toolbox just follows you. That'd be kind of cool. Donna says, happy birthday. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Thank you. Senpakin says, I bought some vinyl template stickers for a thin line I'm planning on doing. So making my own templates from these and making copies of the master templates. Yes, Rick, that is the smart thing to do. Never work off of your paid for templates. Because when you ruin one, I didn't say if, when something goes awry and you ruin one, you don't want to ruin the one you just bought. So when you are making copies, just be very careful. Use way more double-sided tape or whatever it is you're using. Screw it down if you can. Don't risk it. Yeah. Smart move. Paul says, got commissioned to do 20 2x3 bowls, maple, mahogany, and walnut, to be given to our customers with cutting board. The same pattern. A wood cost is about $90 for the bowls only. Thinking 15 per bowl is good. Let's do some math. So $90 for all of them? Is that for all of them? So if it's $90 for all of them and you're doing 20, it's $4.50, $5 per bowl. Say $5 per bowl. Plus your time. How long does it take you to make one? I feel like, off the top of my head, without knowing all of your details, I feel like that's low. 15 per bowl? I don't know. Oh, never mind. I see. So 15 per bowl on materials. Oh, I gotcha. I think that's what you're saying. Sorry, I'm piecing it together. Paul says not doing the cutting boards. Another employee is doing those. So $270 to $300 for the bowls. 2 bowls per board. Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Hair Dude says auto follow toolbox. Isn't that called an apprentice? Yeah. I like it. Robert says, last week, I tried to buy a set of bare knuckle P90 soap bar pickups. The day after I ordered them, I got an email notice from Amazon that they canceled the order because they had oversold them. Lots of drag. I have bought bare knuckles, several sets of them. I always ordered straight from their website. I never actually looked online. But I mean like Amazon. I never ordered on Amazon. I always order right from them. I don't know if it makes any difference, but that's how I always ordered. Check their website. Maybe they'll have something on there that, maybe they have those on there. Maybe their Amazon store. I don't know. Check their website though. Paul says, bowls and pens I make are usually for gifts. So just curious what people think. I know bigger bowls average about 35 and up at bazaars. Interesting. Okay, so you were talking about 15 per bowl. I feel that's low, Paul. I don't know. I'm not a wood turning expert. It feels like it's low to me. Because if you got $5 in materials, that's only giving you $10 for your time. You know what I'm saying? And then the finishing supplies, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's up to you. That's just my thoughts at first, off the top of my head. Desertly Dave says, "Sup all, done mowing again." Dave, welcome. Good morning. Glad you got your mowing all done. I haven't had to mow here in a little while. We are in our summer dryness. July is typically pretty dry. We haven't been getting much for rain. Like a light shower here or there. But for the most part, it gets pretty dry, and that means we don't get a whole lot of growth. So usually towards the end of June, things really start to taper off, and I haven't had to mow really anything. I mean, there's a few spots where it's starting to get a little bit tall, but it's mostly weeds and stuff. The problem is, when I go out and mow it, if we continue to get no rain, then it really turns brown really bad. So I have to mow it higher, but then it still kind of starts to die off, which is kind of a drag. We could use a good rain shower, I think. Paul says, yeah, buy straight from bare knuckle. Yes, that's what I do. That's what I do. Sam says, autofollow toolboxes don't stop to send a text message like an apprentice. Well, that is true. That's true. The apprentice is always going to be goofing off. Well, not always. I don't want to say always, but I know what you mean. Yep. Alrighty. So what else has been going on around here? Well, I mentioned I was planning the next project, and I think I'm going to build the behind the scenes secret. I think the next project I start is going to be a hat rack. Not more for like I don't know what kind of hats. Not like a ball cap hat rack, but one that's more for like cowboy hats and different, more wider brimmed hats. You guys know I don't have any hair. Did you know that? I mean, I do, but it's tiny, right? That should be no surprise. If I'm outside in the sun, my head burns instantly. I look at the sun from inside the house almost, and I get a sunburn. I mean, it's pretty bad. So I didn't always, but the last, I don't know, 10 years, probably 8 years, I've really been trying to wear a hat of some sort, something with a brim. And I've got a few different styles now that I've kind of been messing with and going back and forth, and I need some way to store them. I've got a straw cowboy hat. I've got a straw hat that's, I don't know, sort of a Amish style straw hat. Some of the floppy fabric hats. And those are the reason that I started looking at other options, because I don't know what you call it, a bucket hat sort of thing. They're all floppy, and we always have a breeze, so they always flops down on my face, and it drives me nuts. So I've been looking at more rigid kind of hats. But now I've got a small collection of hats with brims, and I don't know where to hang them up. And so I need to build a hat rack that I can, take the hat, and it's got, something other than just a hook that the hat will set on to kind of protect the crown and all that. So I think that's what I'm going to start on once I'm done gluing all these up. So in the next day or two, if you remember, and if you don't, you can go back on the channel and watch the video. Probably 2 years ago, around Christmas time, I'd made a cowboy hat tabletop type stand for my daughter. So I'm thinking something similar to that, but I'm going to have it set so that I can actually fasten the board to the wall, and then it'll come up kind of at an angle or a curve or something, and then it'll have a thing on there. So yeah, that's what I think I'm going to start as soon as I'm done with this, just so I can kind of organize my little small growing collection of hats. So that's the plan anyway, and I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be pretty cool. I still got to play around with spacing and stuff like that, but I'll probably have also on there either some wooden shaker pegs, for hanging, actually, like ball caps and things, and then the arms will kind of swoop out where you can hang the other hats, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense when you see it, but that's what I think I'm going to be starting on. Desolate Dave says it was dry in Vegas last week and 109 to 109. At least it's a dry heat, right? Robert says the pickups would have been a good deal. The set would have only cost about $120 for the set of 2. Yeah, Robert, check their website. They might have some on there. In fact, let's do a search right now, right here, live. Let's go to bare knuckle. And we'll see if we can find you something. I don't know the exact model or anything, but I'm going right to their website. I should have opened it up on the laptop, but I don't want to, oh, I could even have shared the screen with you guys. Huh, interesting. Oh, let's see. Pickups. Let's see what we got here. Standard range, maybe? P90? So we got humbuckers, we got strats, we got tellies, we got HSP90s. There's regular P90s. Let's look at those. Let's see. I'm trying to hold this up so you can see, but you can't. I have to sit this way. Do you know what the model was? Half note P90s, blue note 90s, Mississippi Queen 90s. And they're $103 pounds. I don't know what that translates to. Sam, maybe you can help us out. 103 pounds. Do you know do you happen to know the conversion at all? I have no idea what that is. Nantucket 90s, Supermassive 90s. They're all 103 pounds. Pig 90s. Looks like they got several. So I don't know. I don't know if any of those would fit the bill. The War Pig 90 is the hottest and fattest of our soap bars. I almost want to try that. Sam says, try that spray on hair. I don't think that would work too good, Sam. I'd probably grab like blue or green or something. Robert says, yeah, even though I have hair, if I spend much time outside, the tops of my ears get sunburnt. I've started wearing wide brim hats when working outside. Yes, that's what I started doing several years ago. Something to cover my head, a little bit of the neck. It makes a huge difference. I just got tired of, the brim would flop down with like a cloth hat, and it got really annoying. Like you're out, especially if you're mowing, and it's all good, but the wind comes up and then it's blowing this thing in your face. It's annoying. That's why I went with, well, like I said, a cowboy hat, and I got another one, that wide brim straw hat. And I'll probably try several of them. It'd be kind of cool to have just an assortment of some sort of hats. But I need a hat rack. Paul says, I'm almost 62 and starting to get small landing strip on the top of my head. Thankfully, it can be camouflaged with a slight comb over. I got more than that. I got I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call it. And that happened. I was so young, I guess, relatively, when that started to happen. Paul says about $138. Oh, okay. Robert says, don't remember the model of the pickups. Sam says, what do you need converting? No, I was trying to convert 103 pounds to US dollars. But Paul said it's about $138. Yeah, so Robert, they might have had a sale. It sounds like maybe a sale, like an on Amazon type sale. Yeah. So just a reminder, anybody, I'm just going to throw this out because I don't mention it very often, and that is intentional. If you ever order stuff off Amazon, going through one of my links. You don't even have to order the thing that's in a link. Down in the video description, I always put links. If you click into Amazon through that link, whatever you purchase, not just the item that I have linked, it gets a little, percentage of cents comes back to the shop, and it's a super huge help. So just throwing that out there. If you guys want to help support the shop while you're ordering on Amazon, just go into Amazon through one of my links. I obviously can't order through my own links, but if I were to, I would click into one and I would save that as my bookmark. And when I needed to go to Amazon, I would always go into that bookmark. And yeah, you don't have to order, if I have a clamp linked and you click on that, you don't have to order that clamp. You can just go into Amazon through that link and then order whatever you want. And it does it. It's a huge, huge help for the shop. And I definitely appreciate any of you that order something through one of my Amazon links. So that's the only time I'm going to mention that in probably a really long time. But Amazon was on the brain. Robert reminded me. I'm like, you want to order pickups? Order them through my link. An affiliate link. So yeah, that out of the way. Anyway, Senpakin says, I'm full out bald. I think mine would look like yours, Jeff, if I let it grow in a bit. Yeah, that's the deal. Mine's actually a little bit long. If I can grab a hold of it, it's time for me to get a haircut. And I kind of meant to do that last night. I usually do it before I take a shower. Totally forgot. And I'm not doing it afterwards because then I got to take another shower. So yeah, I gotta get a haircut, get this taken care of. So anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna be building a hat rack for my hats. Another thing we've been doing this week is, I don't know about you guys, but where I live, we have a county fair, and probably a lot of areas have a county fair. I love the county fair. I grew up going to county fairs, and when our county fair is in town, we are going, and probably going more than once. So the fair opened on Saturday. We went out there Sunday. We went out there Monday night. A few of us, not all of us went, like we all went out Sunday afternoon and, and just experienced the whole thing. And then a friend of mine's band was playing. They have live music, like 2 bands a day out there, one in the afternoon and one in the evening that plays into the night a little bit. It's super cool, all different kinds of music. But a friend of mine's and my previous drummer from my drummer from the 2 previous bands that I've played in, was the band he's in right now was playing out there. So we went out there to see him. Me and a couple friends went out, and super awesome. So we've been trying to spend time at the county fair. But I want to know, do you guys like the county fair? Do you go to your county fair? I love it. But I've talked to so many people that are just like, oh, county fair, oh no, oh. I don't know what it is. It's like the sights, the sounds, the smells, the funnel cakes. You gotta have a funnel cake at the county fair. At least that's the way I see it. But yeah, we've been going out there. Might go out there again. It runs until, I think, Saturday. Maybe it's Friday night. I think it's Saturday though. Yeah, we've got friends that are out there with the like showing, the 4-H groups. We know people that are out there with their rabbits. So we go through all the livestock barns, and just, it's awesome. I love it. But yeah, we've been trying to do that too. So that's kind of been another fun thing this week. So yeah, do you guys do that? What do you think? Senpakin says, my template for the thin line neck is calling for 2 carbon rods and the truss rod. Are the carbon rods necessary in your opinion? Oh, good question, Rick. That is actually a really great question. So the short answer is, are the carbon rods necessary? The short answer, no, they're not at all necessary. There's thousands, probably millions might be a lot, I don't know, of necks out there that do not have carbon fiber rods, and they're perfectly fine. Though, after using carbon fiber rods in a couple necks, and this is just my 2 cents, I'm not telling you to go either way, one way or another. After using them, the rigidity of a neck they're so much more rigid with the carbon fiber rods. I find that I almost never, the amount of adjustments that I have to make to one of my necks with the carbon fiber rods is very minimal. And I didn't notice that until I started using them. It's absolutely not necessary. You might experience more seasonal movement, maybe. Maybe you have to make a little bit bigger adjustment to the truss rod kind of deal, but it's absolutely not necessary. However, I have decided for me that from here on out, every neck I build is going to have dual carbon fiber rods. That is just the way I have chosen to build my necks. I like the added stiffness. Does it make a better neck? No, I don't believe it does. It doesn't make any difference to the player. right? Yeah, I just feel that it's a little bit more stable in the long run with the rods. You absolutely don't need it. Like all the big brands, hardly any of them, I think, put the carbon fiber rods in there until you get to maybe the higher end, more boutique level, high end stuff. But I think, as far as I know, your Strats, your Tellys, all of those sorts of things, just a truss rod. If I'm wrong on that, somebody please correct me. But yeah, absolutely, you do not need it. Is it a good idea if you want to do it? Yeah, I would. I mean, go for it if you want to try it out. But it's just not. It's not something that like I said, I decided that I'm going to build my necks that way from now on, just because, like I said, for the added rigidity. But you totally do not need to. There's also people that'll build them with just a single action truss rod, right? And that's also something that I have decided that I'm not going to do. I want a double action truss rod. If you use a single action, does that make it bad? Absolutely not. It's just, it's kind of, how do you want it to be sort of more quote unquote traditional? Or what? I just like the added rigidity as well as the added adjustability of a two-way truss rod and carbon fiber rods. It's your choice. Your neck is going to turn out just fine, Rick, if you decide not to do it. So don't feel like you have to. Totally personal preference, and you're going to have an awesome neck either way. But those are just a couple of the reasons why I like them. Sam says, try wax strips. I have thought about, can I just go and get the rest of this, lasered or something so that it just doesn't grow back? Oh, it's funny. Prince Hulk says, what's your favorite movie? Oh, man, that's a tough one, honestly, because I don't watch a lot of movies. But off the top of my head, the movie that comes to mind is Groundhog Day and Tommy Boy, both 90s movies. But those are two of my favorites. I know there's a million movies that have come out since then, and there's plenty of them that I do like, but those are the two that come to mind. Tommy Boy and Groundhog Day. There's not a whole lot of movies that I watch more than once. Those are two that I can absolutely watch again. And we watch Groundhog Day at least once a year because Groundhog Day is my daughter's birthday. So every year around her birthday, depending on when it falls, we watch it, and sometimes we watch it at another time in the year as well. But at least once every year we watch it. It's a fantastic movie. But yeah. Paul says, working with the new artist on designing his guitar. Lefty players are different in what they want. Never made a bright orange guitar before. I love it. I don't think that's weird or different at all. I love orange. So bright orange guitar it is. Oh, speaking of lefties, I mentioned we went out to the fair on Monday night to watch my buddy's band play. Their slide player, lap steel player, a lefty. Fantastic. Wow. He was tearing it up. Some of the stuff he was playing on there would literally be like normally the guitar player would be playing a guitar solo. He was jumping in and doing some of the guitar solos on the slide, like the same basic note, the same thing you would play on a guitar, but doing it slide. Wow, he was really good, but it was a lefty. He had a lefty lap steel, and he also played a lefty Strat, kind of a country rock kind of band. Super cool. But yeah, I don't think, to me, Paul, I don't think that's different. In fact, I've been wanting to build myself an orange guitar. In fact, maybe I should. Bright orange. I'm talking 68 Camaro kind of orange, I think that would be awesome. Orange dye on like a flame maple top or something. I think that'd be pretty awesome. I might have to do it. I'll build me like a telly. Bright orange telly. I do need to. I was thinking about it the other day, of doing maybe a couple tellies, which would be the Haley guitars. It would be the tonic, but I've been thinking about redesigning the tonic a little bit, So maybe I should do that. Maybe I'll redo the work that I've been wanting to do, make the changes, and then build a pair of them. You know, of course, a lefty for the new change, the new revised model, and then yeah, maybe I should. That'd be cool. Make it orange. I like it, Paul. I can't wait to see the orange guitar. Robert says, I never know when the country fair is happening. I've been to it a few times. We have 2 state fairs in September in Oklahoma City. The other is in Tulsa, about a week after the one in OKC. Yeah, so I am not a fan of state fair. We have the Colorado State Fair as well. And you'd think it'd be in Denver, but it's not. It's in Pueblo. I do not like the state fair. I will not go to the state fair. I went one year, was not impressed. And yeah, there's nowhere to park. It's literally downtown. There's not a parking lot. There's not a big grassy field because it's on the outskirts of town kind of thing. There is nowhere to park, and it is absolutely horrible, in my opinion. And I will never go again. Mainly for that reason. Once you're in there, yeah, it was all right, normal fair type stuff. But the fact that you just trying to park is enough of a reason for me to never go again. County fair, though, is a little different as far as I'm concerned. State fair is huge, right? It's a big, giant thing. But I want to, the state fair, or the county fair, I'm sorry, it's just a lot smaller. It's a lot more fun, a lot more kind of rural country kind of style. And that's what I grew up going to. And that's just what I like. I love the county fair. State fair, like I said, I won't ever go to that again. Let's see. Sempakin says, where would a guy buy the carbon rods? Okay. Well, Rick, I will tell you where I get them. I don't know how that would work being in Canada. But anyway, maybe it'll help somebody out. So there's actually 2 places I buy them from. One of them is, of course, All Parts. I'll order them from All Parts. They have a ton of different sizes in there, but I forget. There's one size that they offer that I buy that I can't get somewhere else. So I order from All Parts. I think it's the 20. Is it the 24 or 24 and a quarter, 23 and a quarter? There's different sizes that they have that I can't buy elsewhere. So I order from All Parts. And the other place I order from is Bitterroot Guitars. Also, they're both US, but I order from Bitterroot. I almost always, as long as it's feasible, I will buy their bulk set of them because you get a better price, right? If you buy, I think it's 10 or 12 or something like that. I do that with truss rods too. I'll just order in bulk, like I said, if I can. If I know I'm going to use them. But I get them from Bitterroot and I get them from All Parts. That's really the only place I order them from. They're all the same size, dimension-wise, the width, the height, all that sort of thing. But as far as I forgot what I was going to say. Those are the only 2 places I get them. And the only thing that changes is the length. In fact, if you have a problem finding anything, I do have some stock of some of that stuff here. I've got some truss rods. I've got some carbon fiber rods. Let me know if you have trouble locating it, and maybe we can work something out. I don't know how hard it would be for me to ship to Canada. Probably wouldn't be all that bad. But just let me know. Yeah, I have some on hand if need be. But that's where I order them from. Let's see. Chaos is here. What's up, dude? Chaos says, is this a birthday stream? It is, sort of. A month or 2 ago when I was scheduling out the streams, I saw that it was on my birthday. And I'm like, I'm still going to be here doing stuff. So I don't care. But we're still going to do it. So yeah, kind of a birthday stream-ish. Yep. And how you doing, man? What are you up to? Let's see. Robert says guitar supply stores online or Amazon. Some places also online that just sell carbon fiber stuff of different types. Yes. I don't just try to buy just a piece of carbon fiber rod. I do buy the ones that are sold as, for guitar necks. Prince Hulk. Oh, OMG, I love Groundhog Day. Isn't that the awesomest movie? The coolest movie? It is the best. Paul says, we had a guy at work that did the hair reassignment procedure back when it first came out. Looks so unnatural. No one has a hairline that straight, and not even a hair out of place. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll just keep trimming it until the rest of it decides to fall out. Hopefully it does. Robert says, just do a search for carbon fiber rods. Yeah, you get some mixed results, somewhat. But Rick, I would say look on All Parts. You can get some ideas of some sizes and things, and also check Bitterroot. And like I said, last resort, let me know, and maybe we can work something out because I do have a few. Rick's here. Rick says, hi Jeff, had a question for you about soldering. Yeah, right on. Put it down there. Let us know. Right on. Chaos with the super chat. Right. Chaos says, happy birthday. Chaos. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Right on. Thank you, Mr. Chaos. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen Chaos's channel, pretty cool channel, go check it out. Chaos has been on here before, and I've been on his channel. That was a while back. Chaos, that video was awesome. I think I went back and watched that not too long ago. Where I was on Chaos's channel trying in MRE from the military. It was pretty awesome. Let's see here. Chaos says, I still want a clear guitar. I know, that would be cool. But you got to find some super thick acrylic. And we could cut it out now on the CNC machine. We could do that. Rick says, hope all is well for you. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Hope all is well as you. Hope all is well for you, too. Sam says, maybe make outdoor bird feeder and house. I have done that before. We've done a couple projects for little bird houses. My daughter and I made bird houses. Oh, and a bird feeder. Yeah, always fun projects. The problem we found with a bird feeder, right, as I kind of like the bird feeder out there. You know, you can see the different birds and nature and all that jazz. What I have found is when there is a bird seed in a feeder, what happens is it attracts critters like raccoons. The last time I did that, I went and bought special food that was supposed to attract like squirrels and things. And we don't have squirrels out here where I live. There's squirrels over in some of the neighborhoods, but right here, very rare that there's a squirrel. And I'm like, it'd be cool if there was more squirrels. So we went and bought this food that was supposed to attract squirrels and that sort of thing. Well, I think what happened is it attracted raccoons by the dozens. And even though I stopped feeding this food, once we realized that, it literally took the next year to get rid of these darn raccoons. So now I'm a little hesitant to put food and stuff out there. But yeah, those are good ideas though, Sam. Those are all great projects. And yeah, I think everybody should build some of those. Robert says you could use swamp ash and dark green filler as and an orange dye over, and the rest will look almost like tiger stripes. Oh yeah, true. Oh, that would be kind of cool. Like that, what do they call that? That Cerus finish? That would be kind of cool. Ash. Do I have any? I don't. I've got a piece of alder. That would be cool. Now I want an orange guitar. Dastardly Dave says, I had 22 fret strap made. Braid Construction Orange. It's tuned to C standard. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, see, now I want an orange one. Orange is one of my favorite colors. Red and black are like my two favorites, but as far as like other colors, orange is right up there. Sam says, smashing the like button helps this fantastic channel out immensely in the algorithm. That in turn pushes more content out. Yes, it surely does. Sam Packin says, thanks, Jeff and Robert. Birdie Ernie, happy birthday, Jeff. Kinda happy birthday. Thank you. Kinda. No, thank you, truly. Paul says, a lefty slide guitarist. Sounds like a slippery slope. Oh man, this dude was good. I'm telling you. I had to go let him know afterwards. Rick says, bitter what? Bitter root. I thought I had a card stuck to my toolbox. Bitter root, one word. Like the, is that a seasoning or a something? Bitter root. Bitterroot. Bitter root. Weird name, I know, but they have cool stuff and good deals. Rick says, I'm having trouble getting the solder to stick to my wiring. When I use copper wire, I have no trouble at all. What do I do? So your solder is working with copper. What are you trying to solder that's not copper? Oh, when? Sorry, I misread that. When I use copper wire. I got you, Rick. Says I'm having trouble getting the solder to stick to the wiring. Hey, the thing stopped moving. I'm thinking, Rick. I will be coming back to that. My first thought is temperature. Are you getting the parts hot enough? Oh wait. I'm rereading your comment. I think I read it right the first time. Having trouble getting the solder to stick to my wiring. When I use copper wire, I have no trouble. Are you trying to? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and you're gonna have to give me more information, Rick. I'm gonna guess that you're trying to get it to stick to the back of the pot. When you solder the wire itself, it works fine, but sticking to the back of the pot. If you can confirm that, then I've got some tips for you. Paul says, I ate MREs when I was in the Marines. Dried pork, beef patties, even soaked in a canteen full of water. Clogs you up. Oh, great. That's funny. Chaos says, I'm in Legoland, so I'm going to go hang out with the family, have a great stream, and a great birthday. Well, thanks, man. Right on. Have fun at Legoland. That would be cool. I would like to see Legoland one of these days. Maybe it seems kind of neat. That's awesome. Well, have a good time, man. Rick says, thumbs up. Paul says, I'm building a squirrel house because wifey wants it. Bought a birdhouse with camera to disassemble for the camera so she can watch it on her phone. That would be cool. Yeah, Sam, raccoons. Yes, that's probably about as many as I relocated. Maybe even a few more. Sempak, and we had a bird feeder hanging in the shed, and it attracted a rat that was feeding on what the birds tossed aside. Yeah, see, that's the downside. It attracts critters, and sometimes the critters are not what you want. Yeah. Paul says, well, Jeff, if you don't have any, then you should get off your ash to go get some. But you know what? I do need to go. I mentioned for these plaques that I bought most of the walnut, but I didn't get all the walnut because I didn't want to overbuy a ton of it. I do need to go back down there to that hardwood place, and when I pick up some more, I might ask them if they have ash. I wonder if they do. And maybe I should get some down there. Paul says the orange guitar is potentially going to be swamp ash. With a baseball thick neck, stainless frets. Ugh. Paul says, scratch up the wire and pre-tin it before you solder to the component. Gives us something to stick to. Yes. Oh, okay. So Harry Dude nailed it. Harry Dude, leaded or unleaded solder, temperature plays a huge part. You can also try flux. Dashley Dave, make sure your heat is right. Use 700 degrees. Make sure you're using a tip with a bit of a flat on it, not a sharp point. More surface area transfers heat. Yes. So you guys are spot on. So Rick, I don't remember the numbers, right? There's like 70-30, kind of a solder mix. Mine has, I think it's a flux core solder. So it has the flux already in it. But yeah, depending on what you're soldering. So I have a couple different tips on mine that I swap out. I'm just going to give you a few ideas that have already really been mentioned. But if I'm soldering like a wire to the end of a pot, like the terminal on a pot or something like that, I don't use a giant big wide connector. I will use the small one that's more of a point that lets me get in there and just heat where I need to heat it, on the lug of the pot or something like that. When I need to solder something to the back of the pot, or let's say I'm soldering to the tremolo claw, inside on the back of a Strat kind of thing, your ground, right? Then I will use the wider tip. I'll swap the tip, and because as Dastardly Dave said, if it's a wider tip, you get more surface area, more of that heat will transfer into the part, which if it's the back of a pot or the tremolo claw, you need more heat. It's got to get hotter before that solder will melt and then stick. You got to be a little bit careful, especially with the pot. It is possible to overheat them. I have done that on more than one occasion. Excuse me. But you get it hot enough, as soon as that solder melts on there, get the heat off, and that'll help avoid overheating it. But I definitely use a solder with flux in it. Yeah, I said that right. But you can also use a separate flux in tinning the part, right? So the end of the wire, let's say, you strip it back and you got the copper wires there that you need to connect. You take a little bit of solder and just bloop on the end of your wire. That's exactly the sound you have to make too. Bloop. Just to coat that wire, and it helps with the adhesion as well. Says which type of solder? This has never tried flux. Yeah, I have soldered in the past where you have a little separate jar of flux and have a little brush and you just slop a little on there. That's one way to do it, or use a solder with a flux in it. Like I said, that's what I do. I'm almost positive that mine's a flux. Without it here, I can't 100% confirm, but I'm quite certain that it does have a flux in it. Robert says there's a guy that has a YouTube channel. He put out a bird feeder and the squirrels rated it. He decided to create an obstacle and the squirrels won. He has at least 3 videos about the course. Oh, an obstacle course. Gotcha. That's funny. Oh, those things are crafty. They're crafty little critters. Dastardly Dave says I use an 1/8" chisel tip for everything with a guitar. Yeah, I can see that. 1/8" would be small enough. Yeah. I think the chisel tip that I have, I think it might be 3/16. Maybe, I don't think it's a 1/4 inch, but it might be. It's a little bigger than an 1/8. But I do have that one that's like a pencil tip, really. And that one I use most of the time for, like I said, the lugs and everything. I have used it to solder the back of the pot, but you definitely can't just touch the tip to it. I actually have to kind of lay it over a little so there's more surface area. Rick says flux in the solder. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm almost positive that that's what mine is. But yeah, it works. It just helps. Helps with the flow and the adhesion and all that stuff. It comes out a little bit neater. Paul says had a pet squirrel as a kid. He loved peanut butter with Pop Rocks mixed in. It was a fun pet to have. Oh, that's kind of cool. I had a friend who, it was sort of a pet. It was like the one that lived in the yard, there at his house. But it would come up and it would like climb up and he could hold it and stuff. It didn't like live in the house or anything, but it was kind of cool. Rick says, great info on soldering. One of my most hated things when doing a guitar. Yeah, I could see that. And you know what? Sometimes the best way to tackle those projects and those sorts of things that we just don't like to do is to just tackle those projects that we don't like to do. You know what I mean? Just take some scraps of wire and maybe you've replaced some components, in the past. You got some old pots and jacks and things around. Just start soldering wires to different parts. Just practice. A little bit of time here and there. You might be surprised how well that will help you improve. Just kind of understand. Try different tips. if you understand what one tip does, how it affects things, it really could be a big help. Birdie already says, I love these Wednesday streams. I learn a bit from each one. Thanks, sir. Well, thank you. And you're welcome. And I'm glad. And that's the whole point, right? And that is the number one reason why I do not choose to do a specific topic. Like, oh, this week we're talking about this, or this week we're talking about that. I like to keep the conversation open, because I never want someone to feel, oh, they're talking about, whatever, so I can't ask the actual question that I have at the moment. You might not remember the next week. So never a closed topic. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Always an open topic conversation, workshop type of stuff related. But yeah, that's exactly why. Because somebody's got a question. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Throw it out there. Never hesitate. If you've got a question, I don't want anyone to ever feel like, oh, they're talking about making walnut plaques, but I really got a question about this guitar thing. Throw it out there. Seriously, I don't want anyone to ever feel like you don't have to hold back. So Birdie, thank you. And that's the exact reason why we try to just do this the way we do it. Because that's the way I want it to be. Let's see. Rick says, thanks, chat. And Jeff, right on. Rick, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hopefully that helps. Just do some practice. Set up some scraps. Take some scraps of wire and just mess around. You know what I mean? And just find out how different things work. If you're not sure of a particular solder, just try it. Do some practice soldering before you actually tackle a guitar or something like that. It will never hurt. Rick says, I'm getting better. Right on. There you go. Paul says, had a squirrel, raccoon, and a skunk. Not descented. Fun pets. Raccoons would steal anything that was shiny and hide it. Yes, I lived in the country. Nothing wrong with that. I'm an advocate for that. I never had a skunk, but my uncle was a wildlife conservation officer. And so, he always got the calls he's a game warden. Always got the calls for, lost animal, mom got hit by a car, the babies were there, any sort of stuff like that. So they always had all kinds of creatures around. Baby deer, same kind of thing. Mom gets hit by a car or something along those lines, and now the baby's there. So he has to go and rescue. They always had all kinds of stuff. They did have a baby deer for a while. It would come in the house and eat out of your cereal bowl. But they had a pet skunk for the same reason. I say pet, but it was, I don't remember how he ended up with it. Probably another thing that would happen is he would get calls that people would have these things as pets that you're not supposed to have as pets. And he would have to confiscate them. That's how he would end up with a lot of them. But anyway, at one point they had a skunk. His name was Leroy, and he was super awesome. And I feel like he was descented, but I don't quite remember. That was a long time ago. I had a lot of birthdays since then. But he was super cool. Let's see. Rick says, too busy doing other things to practice. Well, I know what you mean, Rick. But even if you're going to get ready to solder, right, I got to get this solder project done for the whatever repair. It only takes a couple minutes to do a practice joint, to solder some practice joints before the job. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to actually set it up ahead of time, but you can do, and I've been known to do that from time to time. I've got to make this solder repair. Let me just make sure temperatures are right by soldering these two scraps together real quick. That's all it takes. Robert says, my sister had a pet squirrel. It was a rescue, found young, and she raised it inside. Not as destructive a raccoon, but very inquisitive and got into everything. That's awesome. Francisco's here. Francisco says, hello, Jeff. Francisco, good morning. How are you? Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Paul said the skunk as a lap dog. I love being held, petted. I found all of them as babies and raised them on bottles. That's awesome. Rick says my sister had a deodorized pet skunk. That's awesome. I would love a skunk. That would just be fun. Robert says, Jeff, you're still just a young pup. I know. I just joke about it. It's several of my friends and I, well, we just laugh. We just, but yeah. It's just a number as far as I'm concerned. It's just another day. Sam says you could custom build a guitar that can be left and right. It'd be like a double neck. Who's that guy? That Batio? Batisto? Barista? You know, the guitarist that plays the double necked, but it's this way, and he does the, what's his name? Bartisto? Barista? I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. Andrew Barti. I'm not going to butcher his name anymore. Paul says, gotta go, everyone. Have a great week. Jeff, tell Gina to make you some biscuits and gravy for you today. Oh, that sounds awesome. I didn't think about that. Happy birthday again. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Sam Packins said, just another number till you get to be my age, 70 plus. I put 0 weight in that number, really. You know, the cliche thing that you're only as old as you feel. Sometimes I feel pretty old. Sometimes I feel pretty young. So it's just a number. It's just another day. I don't know. I will continue to do my best until whenever. Sam says, be safe, Paul. Robert says to Paul, have a good one. Right on, right on. That coffee's really good. I'm wondering if I shouldn't take these out of the clamps. Probably needs a little bit more time. I'm almost done. I was taking inventory of the parts that I have left. Looks like I'm going to have to cut another section here before I can glue up any more. So I'm probably going to do that here when we're done. I got one more board of walnut over there that I'm just going to start slicing up, get these things glued up. It's kind of cool to be at this step right now and to know that we're only in the middle of July, really. Whereas last year I was doing this, I was at this step at like the first week of October, and I only had 2 more weeks to get everything done. So it's kind of nice. But yeah. MJ is here. Says, happy birthday. Please can you make a video on creating a radius sanding dish? I could. Except when I made mine, I used a CNC machine. I used my buddy's CNC machine to make them. And I now have since gotten my own CNC machine. So if I was going to make one, it would be on a CNC machine. If you feel like that would be helpful, I could totally make another one because there's another radius that I wouldn't mind making, but it would be on the CNC. I don't make mine on the I forget what the method is, the block and the measurement way, which seems like a ton of work. If you have access to a CNC machine, or maybe you have your own, I could totally do a video on that. But the main reason I haven't done a video specifically on that is because I know that my method that I would choose to use is not the same way everybody else would. But if that would be helpful to you, 100%, I'll make one. Like I said, I would like to make another radius dish anyway. But let me know if that would all be at all helpful. That's been the reason I haven't made one yet. Because really, I'm putting the piece of wood on the CNC. But I would talk about the designing, and all of that stuff. I have the file. The file is already designed. It's adjustable. I can put in, if I want it to be a 29.37 inch radius, I can put in 29.37 and it'll make that radius. If I want it, it's completely adjustable, but it's done on a CNC. So you let me know. If you would make one on a CNC, we can do that. And I can even put the files up there. I thought about offering the files on my website as well. If you want to get the files for a 27-foot radius dish, then we could do that. I thought about manufacturing them too. So if that would be helpful, again, all of this stuff, you guys let me know. If I made them and sell them, would that be helpful to some of you? So MJ, that's where I'm at. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. Yeah, let me know. Give me some more information. If that's not helpful, then let me know either way. Sent back in. Okay, Jeff, happy birthday again. Back to making templates. Have a great day, folks. Celebrate your day. Right on. Thank you, Sent back in. Rick, I really appreciate that. And yeah, have fun building your templates. And the guitar is going to turn out awesome. Don't sweat the carbon fiber rods thing. If you want to use them, absolutely, it makes a great neck. But you're also going to make a great neck if you don't use them. So either way, let me know. If you need help finding any of those parts, let me know as well. Robin's here. Robin says, just made it right at the end. Cheers, everyone. Robin, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you made it. Yeah, we're going a little bit long today, but that's fine. That's fine. What are you up to? You got any projects on your workbench? Robert says, I was at a restaurant last week, and the guy taking my order asked if I was 55 or older for the senior discount. I said, yes, I'm 68. You told me I looked younger than my age. There you go. And you still got the discount. I was laughing. My daughter and I were looking at the schedule for the county fair yesterday. And, they do different things every day. Like Sunday was, Western Heritage Day. And they do different, one's Agriculture Day. Monday's like Free Admission Day. But Tuesday was Senior Day. So 55 and up gets, I don't know, half off or something like that. So that we were laughing. I'm like, no, I don't quite get half off yet. We're not quite there. A few more years. Let's see. Sam says, Jeff, do you prefer metric or imperial? Okay. I'm going to be careful here, Sam, because I've talked about this before. And not you guys, but there are certain individuals on the platform that feel very strongly one way or another. My opinion is I like both of them. I like imperial because it's what I know. It's what I grew up with. It's what we were taught. And I would welcome everyone to share your opinion, but let's I do want to say, just be respectful, because I've gotten into, I've run into issues in the past. Let's just leave it at that. It's what I've taught, or it's what I was taught growing up. It's what I know. It's what I've used for my entire life, almost exclusively. So for that, I like imperial. When I'm working on these, every single thing I do automatically is done in imperial. I don't even think about metric, right? Oh, and another thing, here, most of us here in the States call it standard. A lot of us do. This is another, again, I'm not trying to debate any of this, but we call it standard, right? Because it's also known as SAE, which is the standard American equivalent. So we've shortened it to call it standard. So many people have gotten so bent out of shape that I call it standard. That's not the standard. There's only 3 countries in the whole entire world that use imperial, and metric is the standard worldwide. And I'm not saying, when I say standard, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's what we call imperial. But anyway, I digress. When I'm measuring something, I default to imperial. But I have done several projects, including building the acoustic guitar, where a lot of dimensions are in metric. I really like metric for the simplicity, right? That it's all by tens, and we know that. But coming from imperial, standard, the conversions, I don't like the conversions. There's no similarity between the two, right? So you can't associate them that way. I like both methods, basically, for different reasons. I am more comfortable in Imperial because, like I said, that's what I've used my entire life. But if for some reason we all went metric, which honestly, pick one, right? Go with one or the other. Why's there got to be so many? But anyway, I wouldn't be mad. It would be weird. I would probably have a hard time switching exclusively to metric. I like them both. I'm comfortable with them both. I feel like I can get a more accurate dimension with metric. I think because the increments are smaller. When you get down to like a 64th of an inch, it is super hard to read the lines on a ruler. But a millimeter is kind of easy. Yes, a 64th is much smaller. I don't know. You guys probably won't be able to see this. I'm trying to get this where it'll focus. These are 64ths of an inch. No, with this side. These are 64ths, which is like, it's like a blur of lines. I can barely see those. But anyway, I like them both. I don't have a problem with either one. Lots of people will debate me on that, and I'm not going there. I did a video once about talking about how I like the metric system because I used it exclusively for a project. Wow. Anyway, Sam, that's the long way to answer your question. Robin says, happy birthday, Jeff. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robin. Rick says, happy birthday. Rick says, turned 56 back in June. Right on, Rick. Happy belated. Sam, super chat towards hairspray or coffee. Right on. Hairspray it is, Sam. I don't want my hair to get messed up. Robert says, oh yeah, Jeff, I got an email from Stu Mac this past week. They have some black limba back and sides for an acoustic. They were priced at the time at $90 a set. So the sets looked pretty nice. Interesting. Nice. I've been thinking about the next acoustic. I keep talking about this for a little while. And I need to start on the next one. I really do. I really want to. I do have a piece of walnut here that I really need to get a hold of my buddy and see if he can help me resaw those to turn that into a back and side set, because that would be cool. I've got a mahogany back and side set here. I want to get started on another build. But now I want to do the telly. Now I want an orange telly. Don't tell Mrs. Homebuilt. Anyway. Sam says, pineapple on pizza or not? Not my favorite, but I'll eat it. I wouldn't order it, but if somebody's got one there, I'm not going to go, ew, it's gross. I'll definitely eat it. But I don't choose it. Rick says, so what's a half-inch socket in metric? It's somewhere between a 12 and a 13 millimeter. That's why 13 millimeter is so popular. Because it's the closest to half inch. Robert says, Sam, can take it or leave it. I do kind of like pineapple. I do like pineapple. And I don't hate it on pizza. Like I said, I just wouldn't order it on pizza. Rick says, LMAO. Yeah, you see, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing either way, you know. I work with both. I don't have any problem with it. I'm not a proponent of one or the other. Like I said, I use Imperial. That's what I'm more comfortable with. If I stay on Imperial for the rest of my years, for forever, it's fine. Rick says, I'm not understanding why we switch over to the metric system. Well, apparently we never did, right? Some people will argue and say, well, we technically switched to the metric. It depends on what it is. Like, it seems like all cars now are mostly metric, but I think because they're made, a lot of the stuff's made overseas where metric is the quote unquote standard. We use Imperial here. I don't know. It's a slippery slope. It is. And I'm not mad at either one. I just want to make that very clear. Harry Dude says, half-inch metric is 12.7. So no actual equivalent. Yes. Socket sizes are usually in 1mm increments, except for some smaller 1/4" drive stuff. Yes, excellent, Harry dude. That's why I said between 12 and 13. There is not an exact equivalent. You cannot take 12mm and equivalent that exactly. Jeez. It will not equal an exact imperial measurement. They're just not the same. That's why people will argue, I think, for one or the other. I agree 100%. The metric math is so much easier. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? It's when you try to convert, that becomes a disaster because there is no exact conversion. It just doesn't work. It's like if you're working in one, you've got to work with it in the other. It seems like. But Robin says, I use Impetric system. I like it. I like it. Henry's here. Henry says, missed a few live shows and hope everything is going well. Henry, right on. Yeah, it's been a little bit. Hope you're doing awesome. Right on. Rick says, thanks, Harry Dude. Yeah, thank you, Harry Dude, for providing that. I've got a conversion chart that I reference quite a lot, but it's more so to figure out like decimal equivalents. Like if we're talking 1/8 inch is just over 3mm, 3.175mm, which is 0.125. I know I use it for like all sorts of decimal type conversions. But yeah, I have this thing right up here on my toolbox. I use it all the time. Sam says, just like the UK gave America apple pie, we gave America metric measurement headaches. Yes, you did. I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And you know what's weird about it? Like I said, I don't care either way. Like I said, I'm most comfortable with imperial, but I get the simplicity of the metric. I legitimately don't care. But there's people will really want to argue about one thing or one way or another. It's like, really use whatever you're comfortable with. Use whatever gives you the best measurements, the most accuracy, whatever you feel the best with. I truly, it doesn't matter to me what someone uses, and there's zero chance that I'm going to say, well, you need to use metric because, the British whatever of, you know what I mean? That's just not, that's not how I roll. Use whatever you want. I don't care. And I am always open to have a discussion about it, as long as someone else is not trying to attack. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure we've all seen the things online, some of the people feeling very passionate one way or another. Harry Dude says, here in Australia, we're metric, but still have to work in both, depending on where things are made. Yeah, exactly my point, Harry Dude. Like, cars nowadays, metric. Everything's almost metric. Back in the day, it didn't used to be. So depending on when the car was made, are you working on a new car or are you working on an old classic or something? It might be imperial, standard. Might be imperial one way, might be metric the other way. I don't know. That is what makes it tough, really. And I think maybe that's why people get so passionate one way or another, because it's frustrating. I don't know. Don't know. When I'm designing something in CAD, if I'm working in CAD, most of my measurements are in imperial and decimal. That's what I found. It's like if I can put in a 4" by 4" and an 1/8 inch thick kind of thing, but the hole in there is 0.202 or whatever. I find myself doing that. Very rarely will I actually enter a metric, like millimeters or something like that. Where I struggle, and this is just me, where I struggle with metric is the decimals. When I'm building the acoustic guitar, I typically have the plans laid out here. Those plans, for the most part, are in metric. They do have some imperial, or is it decimal? I think it's decimal equivalents on there. But where I struggle is they'll say this is supposed to be 2.7, and maybe you guys can help me with this. They say it's supposed to be 2.7 millimeters, right? Well, I don't have any way to measure 2.7 millimeters. I don't know what that is. So then I have to like convert that. I have to go and like look up the decimal conversion because I can easily measure something to the decimal. I have all the tools to do that. I think maybe what I need to do is get a good set of metric calipers. Maybe that's what I need to do. But that's where I run into problems. 2.7, 8.2 millimeters. I don't know what that is. I've got these awesome metric scales, but I can't measure 2.7. I can measure 2, I can measure 3, but I can't measure 2.7. That's my challenge. And I probably, like I said, only face that challenge because I don't have the proper things to measure metric. I do have a cheap pair of digital calipers that I try not to use that I can switch to metric, but I don't like them. I don't necessarily trust the measurements on them. I don't know how accurate it is. But anyway, that's my challenge. Robert says, a few guys and I went to a pizza place in Tulsa, and they ordered a pizza that was made with super hot spices, and they said each of us try one piece. I had two and did not like either. Just tastes nasty. So it was a spicy pizza, and everyone tried one. Huh. So was it to the... I love spicy stuff, but if you just slather something in, say, habaneros or ghost peppers, or there's a point to where just because it's hot, I will eat food that's hot enough that my eyes will water. I'll be sweating, but I gotta have the flavor. If it's all just heat, I don't like it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Maybe that's what it was. If they just slathered it on there with spicy stuff to where there was no flavor, it was all heat, then yeah, I wouldn't like that either. Dashley Dave says, I worked in Imperial Programming, a metric CNC machine. 25.4 is your friend. Yes. I've gotten quite familiar with that conversion. It's just, I don't like to have to mix them if I don't have to. I do it whenever I need to. But yeah. Harry Dude says, I had a car from the 80s that the body bolts were metric and the motor was carried over from the 70s that had Imperial. So much fun. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, Harry Dude. Isn't that all the cars in the 80s? Most of the cars that I've owned have been from the 80s. My first car was an 80. My second car was an 87. Then I had an 84. Then I bought an 80. Was it an 85? Then I actually jumped up to a 99, and that was like all metric. And now mine's an 07, so still fairly old nowadays. Yeah, my first 4 or 5 cars were from the 80s. Robert says, my tab for the stream just crashed. Had to reload. Yeah, darn. Sam says, Google's handy. Heritage says, yes, good metric calipers are your friends. Yeah, maybe I should order up some. Order some, I don't know, the good Fowlers or something like that. That's what my favorite ones are Fowlers. The Starretts and everything, those are cool, but I can't even get it out of there without moving. But the ones you see me use all the time in this blue case, those are Fowlers, and those are awesome. Robert says, Harry Dude, yeah, I like watching the CEE or Cutting Edge. Oh, it's Cutting Edge Engineering and machinist from Australia. Really like watching his work. Harry Dude says, Cutting Edge is great. I'm going to have to check it out. Harry Dude says, yes to pineapple on pizza. Had this argument tonight with a visiting friend. I will die on this hill. Harry Dude, no need to die. No one's going to beat you up. You want pineapple on your pizza? Eat the pineapple on your dang pizza. Like I said, I'll eat it. If you showed up with a pizza and it's got pineapple on it, guess what we're going to have? We're going to have a pizza with pineapple. Have at it. No need to fight. Yep, that's my opinion. Now, if we showed up with anchovies, mushrooms, that's a little different. That one's harder for me to deal with. But if you show up with pineapple, it's fine. I'll be picking the mushrooms off though. Robert says, yeah, they just make the pizza as hot as they could, not redeeming flavor. Ah, yes. Handle the heat, just had a nasty flavor. Yeah, that's the stuff I don't like. So a lot of times people like to buy me spice, be out and about, and maybe it's Christmas, maybe it's birthday. People like to buy me spicy stuff because they know that I like spicy things. And sometimes that's what it ends up being. Like I will try any sort of hot something or other, and first bite, if the first couple bites, if it's all just heat with no flavor, I don't like it. And I have, unfortunately, I've tossed out spicy salsas and lots of different things because it is just heat. They don't care about flavor. They just make it hot, and hot it is. But I gotta have that flavor on the other end of it. But I do enjoy. I will try about anything. It's just weeding out the stuff that has good heat versus no flavor is kind of fun. Sam says YouTube adverts are crashing the browser. Happened a few times to me today. Interesting. Sam says perhaps dual stream on YouTube and Discord. I have been thinking about that, Sam. I think you mentioned the Discord a while back. My buddy Chaos, who stopped in earlier to this stream today, he has mentioned to me several times about running a Discord. Who wants to help me run the Discord? Because I seriously don't have time. I'm all for it. I just don't have time. I can't juggle all of the different platforms. It's hard enough to juggle the platforms I have. But if somebody wanted to help run the Discord, I would totally do it. I'm serious. If anybody wants to, you don't have to, but if anybody's like, oh yeah, I'm good at it. I just don't have time. I will create the account if somebody wants to run it. Birdie Erdy says, I measure my pizza in standard. Yes! That is the best. How do you like thumbs up? Comment. How does it doesn't even let me? Why not? That one I got to. It won't let me. Why not? Anyway, yes, that is awesome. That is the way to do it. I measure my pizza in standard. It's a standard 8 slices. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Robert, Sam, LOL. Robert, the couple and I ate at Hideaway Pizza yesterday. Nice. Here, dude, anchovies are fighting words. Okay, hold on. I gotta make sure we're on the same page. Are you against them or are you wanting them? Because I'm against them. Here it is. I usually get my pizza cut into 6 pieces. I usually can't eat 8. Oh, I love it. Yes. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't eat 8 either. But man, I can do 6. Robert says I had a few more adverts today than normal. I'll be darned. Don't know what's going on. Let's see. Harry, dude, that's awesome. cut it into 6 pieces because you can't eat 8. I love it. That's great. Sam says I have a Discord. You can only thumbs up on supers. You should be able to like the regular comments. That's awesome. Oh, that's great. I'm that way, Harry, dude. I'm that way too with cake, right? I can't eat 8 pieces of cake. I'll eat 6, maybe 4. Oh, that's awesome. You guys are great. I love it. Well, guys, I'm gonna have to get this wrapped up. I gotta get some more of these things glued up because I don't know what we're doing this afternoon, but Kiddo and I are holding down the fort, and yeah, we gotta do something for the day. Celebrate the day. Let's see. Sam says make moonshine. Says thanks for the fantastic stream today. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Yes, it is my birthday. Yes, I'm another year older. No, it doesn't change a thing. We're out here hanging out, having a good time. This one was like extra fun. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because birthday moods. I don't know. Super good chat. Lots of different topics. I love it. And I also, the fact that we can bring up something like the metric versus imperial. And no one got mad at each other, right? That's how we roll. If I post that on anywhere else, then everybody's mad at everyone. It seems like. This is why it should be metric. This is why it should be imperial. You guys are awesome because we don't have that. We can legitimately have a conversation about stuff that I know for a fact people don't agree on. And we can also talk about pineapple on pizza and measuring pizza in standard. I love it. What a great one. Thank you all for the great stream today. My pleasure to hang out with all of you, and I appreciate all of you for hanging out with me. Dashley Dave says, thanks, Jeff and all. Says, happy birthday. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I really do. Sam says, be safe, everyone. Robert, sorry, Jeff, but I do like mushrooms. Had them on my mini pizza along with Canadian bacon yesterday. I won't try to force you to eat them. Robert, fair enough. I know tons of people that like mushrooms. It's just not my thing. Just not my thing. I'm not mad at them, though. Just like the pineapple. Although I'll eat the pineapple. Mushrooms, I can't. But that's just me. So right on. It's all good. Eat your pizza how you want. Use whatever measuring system you want to use. It's fine. We can all get along. That's what I did there. Drizzy Guitar says, happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate it. Robert says, everyone stay safe and healthy. Harry, dude, catch you all next week. Have a great day, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to get out of here. You guys all have an awesome week. Hope you get some time to get out to your shops and build some cool stuff. Have fun. Be safe. Enjoy your days. And be on the lookout. Video coming out this weekend. Did I show you that? I did show you the hand plane that I did last week. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, thank you again. Stay safe. Stay well. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. Have an awesome day.